Welcome back. Today we are witnessing a clash of titans, Mikhail Tal versus Boris Spassky. Two world champions, one board, and a tactical firestorm that only the magician could ignite. Let's get into it. Pawn to e4, pawn to e5. Knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5, pawn to a6. We have a Ruy Lopez. Spassky chooses the Breyer variation, ultra solid, ultra deep. He's trying to keep Tal at bay. Bishop to a4, knight to f6, castles, bishop to e7, rook to e1, pawn to b5, bishop to b3, pawn to d6. Standard theory so far, both legends are maneuvering, preparing for the long squeeze. Pawn to c3, castles, pawn to h3, knight to b8, pawn to d4, knight to d7, knight to d2, bishop to b7. Spassky reroutes the knight. It's a slow-burning fuse, but Tal is already preparing the match. Bishop to c2, rook to e8, knight to f1, bishop to f8, knight to g3, pawn to g6, pawn to a4, pawn to c5, pawn to d5, pawn to c4. The center is locked, the queen side is tense. This is exactly the kind of position where Tal finds magic in the margins. Bishop to g5, pawn to h6, bishop to e3, rook to b8, queen to d2, pawn to h5. Spassky pushes the h-pawn to stop the pressure, but Tal sees a target. Knight to g5, knight to h7, knight takes h7, king takes h7, rook to f1, king to g8, king to h1, bishop to g7. The tension is unbearable. Tal is shifting his weight to the king side. The storm is gathering. Pawn to a xb5, pawn to a xb5. Pawn to f4, pawn takes f4, bishop takes f4, queen to e7. Tal rips the position open. He doesn't want a quiet endgame, he wants a fight. Bishop to g5, queen to e5, bishop to f4, queen to e7. A little dance with the queen. Tal is checking the clock, checking the engine, and preparing the killing blow. Bishop to g5, queen to e5, rook to f3, rook to a8, rook to a f1, rook to f8. Spassky is defending heroically. He's doubled the rooks. He thinks he's safe. Knight to h5. Boom! The knight. Tal sacrifices the piece to shatter the pawn cover. Spassky takes it. He has to. But the floodgates are open. Pawn takes h5. Rook to f5, queen to e8. Pawn to e5, pawn takes e5. Tal is playing with fire. He's down a piece, but his pieces are swarming like hornets. Bishop to h6, rook to a6. Bishop takes g7, king takes g7. The trade on g7 leaves the king naked. Spassky is clinging to the board. Pawn to d6, pawn to f6. Rook to g5. Check. The rook! Another sacrifice. If you take it, the queen dies. Spassky runs to f7. King to f7, bishop to g6 check, king to e6, bishop to f5 check, king to f7. Tal is playing with his food. He's checking the king back and forth, building the pressure. Queen to d1, rook to h8, bishop to g6 check, king to e6, bishop takes e8, rook takes a8. The material is equalizing, but the position is a graveyard for black. Queen to h5, rook to d8, rook to g7, king takes d6, queen to f7. The final squeeze. The king is in the center of the board and Tal is closing the net. Spassky resigns. Mikhail Tal, ladies and gentlemen, he didn't just play Spassky, he dismantled a legend move by move. If you love these tactical masterpieces, support the channel via the BTC link in the description. Hit like, subscribe to Live Chess Games, and I'll see you in the next one.